Yes, 16 minutes to be exact. There was a lot of loud cheering, clapping, even dancing here as soon as we hit that 7 o'clock mark, and even a DJ playing some Whitney Houston. I mean, it was kind of a party out here, you guys. But yeah, all day long, it has been a steady stream of people out here at the Indian Bend Wash Visitor Center. We're off of Indian School Road and Hayden. And take a look, there's about a dozen people left, couple dozen maybe, from the part of the line that we can see outside of the Visitor Center, still yet to cast their ballot. Excited, of course, and in this highly anticipated decision-making process. Most of the people that we talked with throughout the day out here said that it was about a 20 to 30-minute wait to get in, but of course that it was well worth it to cast their ballot. A lot of people basing their decisions on the economy, inflation, abortion, Prop 139, as well as the border, immigration issues. I mean, so many things to tackle in this election. We talked with voters in line about the mood this evening and the top issues driving their voting decisions. Here's what they had to say.
Well, I am a female entrepreneur, so a lot to do with like taxes and just deciding based on like empowerment and kind of things that can help my business.
I was actually really happy to not see like a lot of people like heckling. Like I've heard some horror stories where people are heckling in the parking lot or anything, but that wasn't the case. And when I declined anybody, they were like, okay, they were really respectful about it. So I think it makes an easier process to come out.
The people that we talked with, they're really keeping who they voted for in the Senate and for president confidential, but say they are firm with their choices and have been made those decisions based on their core beliefs. And with that being said, it was nice to see everyone being cordial to one another this election day. Besides a little wait, of course, it was about 20 to 30 minutes. Didn't seem like it was anything major for a lot of folks that just said they were excited to exercise their right to vote and really felt empowered to do so. So no major issues out here in Scottsdale at this hour. Some good news to pass along to you. Mark Rebe, over to you.
All right, Tricia, thanks. Bram a second ago was giving kudos to all of the people waiting in line all over town in these polls. But you also have to give props to elections workers who have put up with so much, not just, hopefully not today, but for sure 2 years ago and 4 years ago. And so one of the men in charge of making sure everything runs smoothly is Supervisor Bill Gates. He is on hand with our own Colleen Sikora at the Tabulation Center. Hey, Colleen.
Yeah, good evening. It's been a long day, a long night still ahead. Supervisor Bill Gates, thank you so much for joining us. How are things going? Obviously, polls closed here just a little bit ago. Still some folks in line, though.
Yeah, that's right. The polls closed. We've got about 250,000 people who have checked in for the day for in-person voting. But like we always say, everyone who is in line at 7 p.m., they'll be allowed to wait in line as long as it takes for them to have the ability to vote in this historic election. So it looks like maybe we've got about 5,000 or so left in line when you look at all the 246 vote centers across Maricopa County. So we're getting those folks through, and then we will be in a position where we can start to close down the vote centers and start to bring the results in to our central tabulation.
Tell me about, so 250,000 check-ins, that's lower than you had anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, we had thrown that about 300,000 number out there. That was an estimate. So we're close, but we are below it. We feel like maybe part of that was just we had such enthusiasm for early voting. We shattered records for early in-person voting, and we had, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots as well. So the bottom line is there was a lot of participation in this election, just as we expected.
And to get to those early ballots dropped off today, obviously poll workers are going to start dealing with those. A new law went into effect. It added, if memory is serving correctly, about 30 minutes or so to count all of those green affidavit envelopes, not counting the votes themselves, but counting up those envelopes in order to then bring them back here. How are things looking to count those green affidavit envelopes with those early ballots in them to get them back?
Yeah, so this is something that we did in the primary, so we do have experience at it. This is a major undertaking. This is a new law that was passed by the legislature, so we actually have hundreds and hundreds of county employees, or I like to kind of compare it to a pitcher coming out of the bullpen. So these are fresh people. They haven't been working all day on this work. So they're going to come in, they're going to count those up, but we will have to wait until they have completed that hand count of those green envelopes, and then and only then will we then be able to also bring in the memory cards with the results from in-person voting today on those on-site tabulators.
And with that, you're expecting, we obviously still have that 8 p.m. drop, about 1.2 million of those early ballots that were dropped off, about 70 to 75% that you guys had before Election Day. Tell me about after that 8 p.m. drop, when are we expecting results?
Yes, so we would expect the next result somewhere around 9:30 or 10 p.m. this evening, and those will be the first on-site tabulator votes, so from Election Day. And then as we go through the evening and into the early morning hours, we will continue to go through those, so we'll see, upwards of 200,000 votes that will then be tabulated and reported. They'll be reported from the on-site tabulation going into the wee hours of the morning. And then we'll move into Wednesday, and we will have further updates with more of the early ballots that will be reported later on in the evening on Wednesday. So again, as we've been saying for the past few days, we're asking for everyone's patience. We're going to get through this count as quickly as we possibly can, but we are always going to choose accuracy over speed.
And to get to all of these steps, signature verification and everything going on, not only with the early ballots, but also then following the new law, bringing those early ballots dropped off today back, getting the memory cards put in, takes a lot of people. You have people working around the clock.
Yes, we are working a 24/7 operation here. We've got people who are going to be out at these vote centers later into the evening before they can all get in. We've got over 4,000 temporary employees who make this work. We are incredibly grateful to them. They're working 16, 18, 20-hour days already, and we're going to be asking more of them over the next few days. So I really implore the people, the residents of Maricopa County out there, to have patience with them. These are our heroes, right? These are our uncles, our aunts, our grandfathers, grandmothers, and they are the ones that are bringing all this together. And so we're grateful to them, but let's give them a break and let's show a lot of patience with the team.
I know I asked you this earlier. With all of the extra people you hired, to get to this point, polls closed, still have lines, which was, I think, anticipated at this point. Still feeling good about everything you did to get to this point.
Yes, yeah. No, we feel very good. We had a plan. We put it in practice. It worked. We had just minor issues throughout the day, which were really not even issues. I mean, they were expected. When you're running this many pieces of paper through a printer, you're going to have toner go down. So there were places where we had to, increase the amount of toner. But we are thrilled with the way this went very smoothly, and the fact that people got to go out and exercise their right to vote. And it sounds like, the reports we're hearing, people who are out there at the vote centers getting along well. That's what, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, enjoying being Maricopa County voters and being civil to one another. We need more of that. We need to get back to this as a county, a state, and a country. And I think this is a great first step.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Bill Gates. And obviously still the message tonight, if you are in line, stay in line. You'll still have a chance to vote, but for now, we'll send it back to you.